Welcome to the Whitetail Legacy Podcast, coming in your ear holes.
October 1st. We smash it 10 yards tonight. The buck we call Pickles. A south wind pushing us back to the zag.
Got her stand on our backs.
Set it out and see what happens. You on it?
Alright.
Got the air going out of me.
Absolutely drilled him.
And boom, he's that good buck.
Go get my buck, then we're gonna go get homie's buck.
Urban piece as hell.
Got him. Pickles is dead.
Kevin Gates, both kills on hanging hunts.
My first public land buck.
Nice work, dude.
Look at that. Triple brow on the right.
I'm digging that.
Bucked out October 28th. An absolutely incredible season.
Here we go.
Welcome to the Whitetail Legacy Podcast. Still kissing your ear holes with that new intro. Thanks for all the messages about the new intro. Quite a few of them coming in. Appreciate that. Homie put some time in and knocked that out of the park for us. We had a episode lined up tonight, and he kind of backed out, and our work schedule has been absolutely insane. So I'm on lunch break at work right now. That's how dedicated we are to making sure we bring an episode to you guys every week here. Recording this late, getting it out, and kiss your ear holes as quick and as efficiently as we can. So it's going to be me and homie talking about Criss Cross. We mentioned this buck last episode, so it's going to be another big buck breakdown of Criss Cross. But let's get into the people to make this possible, and we'll get into the show. What you got over there, homie?
We're going to start off with Last Breath TV. Guys, we are in the off-season. Deer dropping antlers, and last year these guys put together a series called Shed Kings on their YouTube channel. If you missed it, go back and check it out. Some absolutely hammers on there. Was a pretty cool series. Got to watch everybody measure the shed, tell a story about it. Give some info and details about where they found it, and also about their shed hunting tips. So a lot going on in these short, quick episodes. Get some information and get to see some cool-ass antlers.
One quick thing I want to mention, sorry about the audio quality on this one. I am at work on lunch break, so I hear a train coming already. It's like classic. So it's going to be pretty loud here. I think I'll try to mute myself when it goes by, and homie, you just have to take over.
Yeah, I'll just try to jump in there. Going with Exodus trail cameras here. We are in the process of getting some of our cameras out of the woods. And way back when in the day when I was a newbie here at running cams, I left my batteries in the cams when I'd get them home. So, and then you take them out next year and they're all corroded in there. And then you got some contact issues, potentially going to hurt you when you get them out in the summer. So when you do get them batteries home or get them cams home, be sure to get the batteries out of them. And, you never know how many TV clicks that them batteries can get you in your TV remote when you get it back home. If you're in a pinch there, that's what I always do. Or we got a shitload of toys and we just throw them batteries in there because I already know they're below 50%. So always coming in clutch there with the batteries. Kicking off here.
I got Right On Optics. Oh, I was gonna hop in. I got Right On Optics. Train's not here yet, so I'll go ahead and kick them out. We're gonna get their new scopes here soon. Me and home are gonna get one. We've messed with their older stuff, but none of the new stuff yet. So excited to get that in our hands, be able to show you guys them, make some posts about them, and give you guys some more details of actually using them in the field, some coyote hunting, stuff like that. And I'm gonna get one on the muzzleloader too, and get that thing ready to rip. So here comes this train. I'm going to kick it over to homie, and he's going to start this off.
And going into Next Level Deer Supplements, you can still get your orders in for their winter feed and pellets. The deadline to get your order in for that is arriving. They will be switching to their spring and summer feed here shortly. But if you do need a last little scoop there, they are open for that here for probably the next, I think he said March 1st, so the next week and some change here. All right, guys, here we go. Getting into the story of Criss Cross. Criss Cross is a buck that is on public, and we've actually got quite a bit of history with him, but we just can't seem to really pin him down, especially the older that he gets. They say that, the deer's range really shrinks, and I'm not sure if it's just from us having more assets in the area, but we're kind of bebopping all around in his what we think is his range, and we just can't seem to encounter this deer, even though we did one time, and we'll get into that. But this deer is a deer that we seen here back in 2019. We packed in deep, and it was actually the day that we saw Magnum for the first time, and I was hunting behind the bow, and Cody's filming, and so he's in the cameraman stand up higher than me, and that was when the old famous, there's a shooter coming, it's a giant. So I was like, okay, and there's a little knob that comes out into the opening, and the deer were all behind it, and there was a doe, Criss Cross, and Magnum. And the doe's blowing, and I mean, it's just barely light enough to see. I couldn't even believe Cody was able to see the deer. And so I'm looking down there, doe's blowing, and, you know kind of how you feel when a doe's blowing, but it wasn't much long after she stopped blowing for about the 30th time that Cody said there was a giant. So I'm looking down there, and here comes Criss Cross. I already see the doe, and here comes Criss Cross out behind this knob, and I'm like, what in the hell is Cody looking at? Like, I got my bow in my hand. I'm ready to send one, because they're at like 35 yards. And I'm like, okay. And then I'm like trying to really see what the hell this buck is. And I'm like, man, that's not like, we got a hell of work to get out of this place if we get one down. And that's not the one we're going to be trying to drag out of here. So I literally hung my bow up. And then Cody's like, what are you doing? Giant right here. And then I look back up, and here comes Magnum out behind the knob. And by this time, Criss Cross had already took this little creek, hit this opening, and was up on top of the other little hill or ridge. And then that's when we got the sweet film of Magnum, doing the big buck walk and swaying and getting up there and kind of bumping Criss Cross off that doe. And at that time, we had a couple pictures of Criss Cross up there on the oak flat, but I looked in my hard drive here, and I didn't save the pictures because it was just, a little bullshit 80-inch 9-pointer, So I don't have any pictures of him from 2019, but I did take a screenshot here of Criss Cross when we did the encounter. And man, I'm gonna have to have you talk, and I'll look it up because I can't concentrate on two things. But so Criss Cross was just a 2.5-year-old buck. We didn't even name him at that point, and we hadn't even really connected the dots on Magnum either. And after the encounter with both of them bucks, we put the pieces together on Magnum in the stand that day, and then we did an all-day sit there. It's November 7th or 9th, and we seen Magnum come out at the hot corner that day, and that was at like 1 o'clock, 11:30, 1 o'clock, midday as hell, and we knew that they had just went into bedding and bed down with that doe, and then Magnum left, and we're like, okay, well, we'll see what else happens here. We still got some other handful of shooter bucks in the area. And then, about an hour before dark, here come the doe back out. Same way she went in the bedding. And this time she was coming right at us. And Criss Cross followed her. He was up in there grunting. And he followed her. And then this doe got about, 12 yards from us, going to take this little washout. And I don't know if she caught our wind or we're up there moving or talking about what the hell we're going to do. And she busted out, and then Criss Cross is out there looking, and he's like, what the hell is she busting out for? And then he eventually followed her, and that was the only encounter with Criss Cross that we've had, but we didn't really connect the dots on him until 2020. We got cams back out, and I guess you can maybe go into your encounter with Criss Cross there here for 2019.
The day before we encountered him in Magnum. One thing about that day is that those 2 days, the day before that I hunted, and then the day you hunted, we encountered every deer that we have that's a target out there. We targeted we had an encounter with Westside, and we had an encounter. You almost killed the short tine 10.
Yep.
And I thinking about that the other day. I'm like, we didn't know if we were in the right spot that year, but then literally every single deer that you have pictures of, you see in 2 days, you're like, okay, I'm in the right spot.
Yeah.
But you talk about you're in the right spot until stuff changes. Well, in that case, stuff changed. They killed all the does back there, and the bucks just didn't use it the next year. It was very slow back there. The 8-pointer that was with Criss Cross.
Yeah,
it'd be nice to try to pin him down to what deer he is.
It could be that giant 8 we got with the kicker up there now.
Yeah, could be. I have no idea, but
yeah, I don't know.
That's the only one we don't really have pinned down. But I went out there. I took off. I worked a day early, and then you hunted in the evening, and I went out there in the morning, packed in, did an all-day sit.
Yeah, you did like a mid.
And I encountered him at like 1 p.m. I think it was middle of the day. Between 11 and 1, I know that.
Yeah,
he came in, backdoored me.
Yeah, this clip here is at 12:52.
12:52, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, so he came in, backdoored me. Could have killed him. He come real close to the tree and then turned around and angled out and then angled past me and wasn't a shooter, and I didn't really realize that it was him until we just were talking the other day and I connected the dots. But going on to 2020, that's when we really decided. We got velvet pictures of him, and he grew a bunch that year. I got another train, man. Dang it. This is going to be rough.
Yeah.
Way too much traffic out here on the railroad.
So if you guys are watching this here on YouTube, I'll try to share my screen here with you guys, and you can see that's kind of a bullshit one here, but that is Criss Cross there, and all his glory as a 2.5-year-old is what we're thinking he was there. And nothing special. There's that doe that was coming in on us. She's getting ready to go down that washout right there, and that's Criss Cross right there. November 10th is when we were back in there and had that encounter. I'll see if I think I did another one there of him that day real quick. No, did not. So, like I said, don't have any pictures of him in 2019, but then like Cody was just getting ready to say, 2020, he absolutely blew up and earned his name of Criss Cross. And here is a picture of him and in velvet that, you're like, okay, this is something to get on the radar here. As you can see, his G3 kind of kicks forward there. He's still a 9-pointer. And these other pictures that I got here, you can see where his beams do cross. And it was very cool. Like, we were pretty jacked when we got it because we were like, holy shit, never seen a deer do that, And we were trying to figure out, like, how he's going to rub trees and do all that. And this is still back in that same area. This is quite a bit, the cam is quite a bit deeper than the stand we encountered him out of. And he was actually back in that.
Don't mind the date. Yeah, don't mind the date on the trail cam.
Yeah.
That's one of those that we didn't get reset, but time's right.
Time is
right. Yeah, that's when we were like, okay, we got a little interest in him. He's not a giant, but we think he's 3 there, 3 or 4. He's not a wide framey deer. He's just a cool ass, because he crosses. That year was the year again that we put the most time back in there and never encountered him. Really during the rut, we didn't get a lot of trail cam pictures of him. Never seen him. That's when we hunted, 17 days straight.
Yeah.
not all in his area, but probably 10 of them was in or around his core area. And we never seen him. And we didn't have any trail cam pictures of him in the rut, I don't believe.
No, and like it was like he went hard horned, and we got a couple pictures of him here in 2020 hard horn, and then he was just ghosted. And like Cody said, that was the most time we were out there ever, and not even getting him on cam.
Yeah, so he, as a 3-year-old, he changed his rut area, went somewhere else, and the only thing I can think of is Magnum was so big and prevalent in that area that he just pushed him out as a 3-year-old. When Magnum showed up in October, he left and said, okay, I tried to mess with this dude last year. Now he's even bigger. I'm getting out of here and going to roll on to somewhere else, greener pastures. But no encounters with him in 2020 and no trail cam pictures of him. And another deer that we were kind of on the fence, like, is he alive? You know, is he ever going to come back? And it seems to be just like Westside. Westside wasn't back there this year at all either. And the only thing I can think of is, like I said, Magnum was so strong in that area. We didn't really see hardly any bucks back there that year.
No.
So I don't know if he had ran off, a lot of those deer from that area and kind of had control over it, but we didn't get a lot of trail cam pictures of bucks back there. It was all small bucks. Remember, it's all two-year-olds and then a 190. Like, it was either you're getting pictures of a 60-inch deer or a 190-inch deer. And that's pretty much what we seen. Besides the buck I shot, I mean, we didn't see anything that was even remotely close to a shooter besides Magnum.
Yeah, and I mean, the only other buck we had on cam was the split 3 buck out there, and we had one picture of a 10-pointer that could have got shot early October in the back.
The short time 10.
And
we had the short time 10.
Yep, short time 10. Can't forget about him. Can you see this picture, Cody?
Yeah.
Yeah, if I shot that deer that year, that's exactly how I was going to get him mounted. Full sneak like that, looking just like that.
Nice.
I think that would have looked pretty badass. And, man, that's a badass deer right there.
Yeah. Just a cool deer. His main beam crosses in the front. But, yeah, 2020, no trail cam pictures of him after Hardhorn, really, or during season, I guess I would say. And then no encounters, and we were back there the most we ever were, putting in the most time, and deer just wasn't there. Just like I said, I think Magnum had ran out most of the deer that were back there because Magnum got killed, and then now we're going into 2021, and we get a picture of him, and we're like, oh, shit, just like Westside. We're like, oh, shit, there's Criss Cross. He's alive, And,
right. I would say, and we actually had less assets in his area because we're trying to target pickles, and we threw a couple extra up him, bouncing around. We picked up a lease, so we had we had a shitload of cams out there trying to figure that out. We knew Magnum was gone, so we weren't going to be trying to ball bust out there if we didn't have to. If the lease was going to be solid, that was going to be the bread and butter. And so we had just a bare minimum amount of cams to feel good about it, to just kind of get a feel for what's going on out there for 2021. And we did have a camera in a new spot that we had talked about getting into, but never really had. We just kind of scouted it, and it's one of them spots like we need to be in here, and then next thing you know, a couple years go by and you still haven't went in there, like a couple dipshits. So finally, Cody got a cam back in there for us, and that was the first time he showed up, man. And it was just like, it was like back from the dead, like not.
Yeah.
The deer hasn't been around for so long, you kind of forget about like him even showing up, a possibility of him even showing up, just like Westside. You just write Westside off because we think he's older than balls, and he's probably dead from winter or coyote got him or whatever. And then next thing you know, boom, out of nowhere.
Yeah. And then this year, I mean, he was he was quite a bit bigger this year. We think he was 4. And we had him a lot, man. We had him. I was looking through it after we said we are going to talk about it. And I'm like, man, we had that deer quite a bit. For the assets that we had on that ridge, I think he was on that ridge quite a bit. We had him way more than West Side. And, you know, my lights just turned out. Sorry, guys. He's 4 or 5 at this point. I think he's 4. And he's changed his rut zone again. He wasn't there in Velvet. He's changed his rut zone back to where he rutted when he was a 2-year-old. But he's damn near the biggest deer in that area. And he put on a lot of tine length. Still the same beams, though, real tight. Still crossing. And like we always say, we don't even know how he rubs on a tree to get its velvet off. It's just he's rubbing on a bush out there to knock that stuff off. But he definitely ain't rubbing on anything inside of his rack, you know?
No, definitely not.
But,
and one thing about one thing about this deer this year is he had kind of stayed around and hung around all year. If you guys are following us for the beginning of last year, we said we were going to delay getting our summer trail cameras out and be able to use more on the back end. And so we didn't have really any velvet pics of him. But it wasn't long after we did get cameras out that there was a bachelor group of about 4 bucks. And we were running them on video mode. And luckily enough, instead of 10 seconds, we got 15-second videos. And you can see Criss Cross in the back, and he's finally made his way up to the front of the pack there by the time the video ended. And that was when we got him there, and we kind of knew that once we got him on cam that he was at least should be huntable for the year.
Yeah, he goes from pretty much not existing, not being on the radar to kind of in the game. And I went back there early and tried to kill him or the short tine 10, one or the other. The short tine 10's kind of been a thorn in our side too, a deer that we can't kill. But we were talking about this before we started the podcast. As many guys that are out there hunting, none of these deer die.
Yeah.
They just are still there. So we know the pressure on the private to the south is high. We know the pressure there is high. These deer are just able to elude hunters and the only thing I can think of is it's just the access to get there.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of guys hunting that area, but no one's hunting in his area, because it's really hard to get to. And it's also really hard to get to without them seeing you or spooking. So why don't you go into the encounter of this year? You went in there Thanksgiving weekend and had it almost killed him. So go ahead and go into that encounter.
Yeah, before I get into that encounter, just like West Side, we did put in these mock scrapes, and he was on them mock scrapes, almost, more than he had in the past. And him and West Side are really the 2 biggest ones in that area. And we had both of them on mock scrapes we put in August and September, and they worked them all the way up until through middle of December. So getting into this encounter, I went out there the day after Thanksgiving, and him and West Side had showed up on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then Thursday was Thanksgiving. So I said, well, I'll go out and try it Friday. And the deer were in the evening on the edge of shooting light. Both made shooting time on cam. And I was, going in trying to hopefully kill Criss Cross, but I was like, well, my luck, I'm going to have it. Bullshit, West Side's going to show up. But, I'm out there self-filming, and I seen a buck up on the ridge, and he's angling away from me a little bit. So I threw a couple doe bleats at him because he had just been working the scrape. There's a 3-pack of does on cam back in there that he had been following exactly a week before I was out there, and then he was working that scrape in that area at the beginning of the week, so I knew he still might be callable to come into doe bleat. And so I threw a couple of those at him. I'm trying to self-film, and he hears me, and, I'm trying to get zoomed in and focused on him, and I kind of lose him as he comes down off that ridge. And then I pick him back up as he's, made it 3/4 of the way down the hill. And he gets to about 100 yards, and he just stops, and I got the camera on him. And at this point, I can't even tell really what buck it is. He's looking right at me, straight on. He's still in the shit pretty good. And I can't get my binos out to really see. The camera can only zoom so far. And I knew it was a shooter, though, and I just had that 8-pointer with the kicker I was talking about earlier on cam Thanksgiving Day up in the hot corner, and I was like, okay, I think this is that deer. And then he just kind of worked back off and went the way that he was going before I called to him, and got close on not a late season hunt, but that weekend that we always talk about, Cody, is that Thanksgiving weekend. Like, them bucks are really, we feel susceptible. They're searching for that last does there, and we've seen them cover some ground, and that's kind of how we're having the luck hunting that weekend that we are. So do you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, I wanted to mention that just like the other deer that are back there, they weren't very common in the rut. He was kind of in and out. In October, pretty good. Then November, not so good. And then later November, he came back. And that just goes to show that we don't think there's very many does back there, and there's not. They're going somewhere else to chase does, and they're coming back because they're cool there. And the only thing I could think is he come back in his summer range that year and was like, oh, Magnum's gone. I'm going to chill here, but I know where I've been rutting, where there's a bunch of does, so I'm going to leave during November and then, go rut, and then I'll come back and try to pop a few does here. But another thing I want to mention was the scrapes that we got them on. This is an area where there is no scrapes. There's maybe one natural scrape that I can think of that's anywhere remotely close to where we have these cams. And we got him on every single one of those scrapes along that ridge. And that's probably 400 or 500 yards. I mean, it's a long ways from the one cam from the beginning of that ridge to the end. And to get him on every cam on those scrapes, just like Westside was only on one of them.
Right. So
this deer was really moving that ridge, and then you had countered him on the center scrape, and then the 8 with the kicker was there also hitting those scrapes. So if you're running to run cams and get pictures of a deer in your area, and you're thinking, man, I need a scrape to be able to get this deer or whatever, these are all mock scrapes in areas where there is 0 scrapes, 0 buck sign, 0 anything. And that scrape right there, that is one of the most awkward spots to ever hang a cam. It's on like a straight cliff, and that licking branch was above every deer's head, and they still hit that scrape.
Yeah, we even had the short tine 10 up on his back legs multiple times, hitting that licking branch, making sure he got in the game on that. But they're probably like, damn, some giant deer out here open this thing up, but we're going to use it. Right? And it's crazy, like, how there's nothing there, and then all we do is go out, rough up the ground, expose the bare dirt. I don't know if you pissed in it or not, but, and that's all we do. And other than that,
we don't go in there and freshen them up. We don't do any of that shit. Hang the cam and make the scrape and hang the cam, and the deer come. And like I said, we know these deer are there, but they are not leaving any sign that they're there.
Yep. And normally the deer would be back by that tree on that side, because there is a little washout there, and normally they would be on that side coming straight down that cliff. And the only reason that they're this close to the camera and we're getting them there is because of that mock scrape.
Yeah.
So funny story about my encounter with Criss Cross is, it's the holiday season there. Everybody's getting excited, and late season, and then we got gun season, and you can't be out there during that. So we hunted back on the private, and it was probably, I don't know, maybe some time off around Christmas or something, maybe even New Year's, because I was clearing the cards to go up to Logan's, and I watched that encounter, and I didn't even know that it was Criss Cross at that time. But then going back and watching that encounter of him on a actual computer, I was like, holy shit, that was Criss Cross. Like, the deer I went in there after was right on the edge of coming in, and that always makes you feel good. And I don't know how many hunts we had, early season of the buck we went in there after, showed up within an hour after shooting light in the first 3 weeks of season, not including the deer that we killed. So, it's always good to have a game plan and go in there and then execute that game plan. And obviously we got it done on a few bucks there early, but still having encounters later in the year, just like you wished you would going into that hunt. I tell you what, it was brutal as hell getting out of there, though. All that shit, and it was good, fired me up to keep going there and had a good encounter with a really solid buck.
We did that like 13 days.
I know. And if you don't do it, smoked. And like it was cold as balls. I was freezing out there, and then you get a shooter coming in on you, and you really get shaken there. And it's just cool, like how it's happened so many times for us before. Like, you don't know, you think something happened, but then when you watch the actual film, the shit's a little different, and or you go back and then you just realize, oh, hey, this was Criss Cross 2 years ago when I was back there, and now I just pulled up the clip and we got to watch it. And just like this instance here, you get to do the same thing. Like, shit, that was Criss Cross. Like, we were on him, and just didn't close that gap.
Did we have him on the trail cam west of the creek at all?
I know the short time 10 was over there. I want to say he was there late October when he was not on the ridge. I want to say that 2-week gap he was over there, and that thing is tore up over there. When I was there October,
Was it?
Well, maybe it was when I checked it there Thanksgiving. Like, that shit was. I might need to find a way to get into them bullshit trees right there.
There's a tree right there we can get in, man.
Yeah,
we can get into that one. That's why I hung that cam. It's
hella
not
shooting.
Pristine. Yeah, it's not pristine, but you can definitely do it. And I feel like if you're hunting that ridge, they're winding you on that side of the creek.
Yeah, like,
so
you're gonna need something east or south to get up in there.
Yeah.
But one thing about it is, it's kind of open there, and what wind you do have should hold pretty true. I don't know if you're going to take the spike trail into account, but if you do have like a southeast or something, be blowing right on that spike trail. If we were in there in the morning or something, I want to say most of the activity that I seen on the card there when I checked it was in the afternoon, daylight afternoon.
Yeah. The tree is to the south of there, so a straight north or northwest would be pretty solid. The tree that I picked out in my mind, I never pulled that camera, so I never hunted over there.
Yeah.
But is that the one that was still working?
Yeah, that was the one still working, and I didn't have nothing to check it with. So, lo and behold, here we are, February 18th, and we still got cameras out there soaking and intel to be obtained. And maybe there's a missing piece of Criss Cross here that is on that camera that's yet to be seen.
Yeah. At least know that he's still alive, Yeah,
at least get a date of, okay, December 27th he was alive, Yeah.
He
made it that far.
So that might be, we have the cam on the other side of there too, so we can kind of put the pieces together on both sides. Hopefully put something together that's a spot that we never really hunted, and that was a natural scrape that was there, which was kind of like a normal. I was like, oh, this is kind of weird. There's and it's not really in like a good scraping spot. It's all cockaberry and bullshit.
Yeah, it is a little bit
Um,
secluded by some grass. There is
Yeah.
hella licking branches though. Like, and I think
Yeah, there is a shitload of licking branches.
I think that's one of the key factors there why they like that. Just a little thin pocket of timber, and they can really get up there. Nice low branch. We don't have them raising up and shit on it. But so getting into the two questions that
I got another train coming, so let's go into if you believe this deer is killable or not.
Yeah. So is Criss Cross killable? And I believe he is. As long as no bigger deer comes into the area, which we don't know what could roll in. As we said, Magnum's dead, so don't have to worry about that. And we don't really have to worry about him venturing too far off because we've run cams in some other spots, and he hasn't been over there. And, with him showing up October, and we hunted back there October 15th, felt like we had a really good shot. We might have went to the wrong spot. I don't know. And we did throw a hunt out there for him and the short time 10. And then, like I said, I felt really good going into the hunt after Thanksgiving. He was daylight back there, working scrapes, chasing does, doing his thing, and almost got it done, So for me to say that I don't think he's killable, I think it'd be pretty silly. Maybe we're going to have, probably about the same amount of assets, I think, depending on, what we do. But I think we can throw the same amount of effort as far as scouting, as far as running cameras back in the area that we did this year, because I felt like we had a really good feel for what was going on out there. And, maybe 2022 is the year that we can encounter Criss Cross again and maybe get it done. So,
yeah, I think if we can kill him, I think we can kill him early on a scrape, second week of October, 10th of October, somewhere around there. Cold front in the evening, slip in there, and see if we can get it done. That's how I think he's killable, and that's how. Or hunting that ridge. We pull those other two cameras. That's going to give us a lot more intel.
mm-hmm.
Maybe hunting that side of the scrapes over there. The only thing that kind of throws a curveball on me is that picture we got of him on the very far east. He was way over there, like on the property line.
Shit.
To the east.
Yeah, we did.
So,
that was late as hell, though, wasn't it?
Yeah, he was coming in the morning like he was bedding over there. Daylight, so I don't know. There's a lot of buck sign over there. A lot more than where he's at now, but there's so much pressure. I mean, there's stands all over there because it's easier to get to, way easier to get to. So I don't know, maybe throws an asset over there just to see, but
late season though, I mean, he really back there, other than the food plots, he might just be going to get some grain up there where we got that one. It was only a one time deal.
Twice.
2 times.
Yeah, both in daylight.
Late December.
I mean, I'm just on that little bitty one trail, like
yeah,
great. That's just in the middle of nowhere, but there's always been scrapes along that edge, and it could be him. I don't know, but
I mean, in reality, it's not
deer.
that
That's
far.
another deer that, about a mile and a half, probably mile and a half from where he's at with our cameras. So really, that's not that far.
No, not for him to shift late season like that.
Yeah. So other than that, I think he's killable. Are you gonna try to kill him? Is this a deer that you're gonna try to target next year, or what do you think?
Yeah, he's. I think he's gonna be my third buck that will be on the list there. Barring something crazy on the lease popping, but I think he'll be top 3. He'll be right in there. As far as I would say, man, a lot of shit changes on October 15th when you got to be on the cycle, to get in there. A lot of shit changes then, but definitely the first 2 weeks I don't see. We just have to see what the cams are showing, but I'm I'm gonna throw a couple at him for sure.
Yeah, definitely a cool deer. I was just thinking about how much assets we would have if we didn't have the lease, man.
Yeah,
We'd
we'd
have
have a
hella
lot.
assets
Yeah.
to throw out there. We're trying to cover a whole new area and not lose the area, not lose the stuff that we got. Plus the urban piece, you're going to want some assets on that. And then plus the other suburban piece, like
Mm-hmm. And then
it's
you
going to
got
be
nowhere for the
spread
wagon
thin.
blind.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
still deciding what we're gonna do. But are you gonna where you ranking him at here as far as interested? You're kind of set on one deer right now.
Yeah. I'm definitely going to put as much effort I can on him. Trailer park's probably number 2. That urban piece is so good.
Mm-hmm.
There's going to be some really solid bucks there.
Mm-hmm.
If they all made it. I mean, we only took one off there and there was like 5 shooters, so, and then there's the 2 8-pointers that weren't shooters that are going to be probably shooters now. So
2 years older. Yeah.
there should be 5 or 6 deer in that area. And that area is just so convenient and easy to get to and hunt and not booger up, especially once we get it set up the way that we want to, kind of tweak, manipulate them enough to be able to get in there like we want to and get set up. I'd say he's probably a deer that if he's just on cam crazy, yeah, I'll go in there. But if I don't feel like I could kill him, I feel confident, I probably won't waste a set there. I'll probably go to the suburban piece or the urban piece or somewhere else. It's hard to say when you don't know exactly what you got going on. But
yeah, you don't know. I mean, some bitch might be gone again like he was last year or 2 years ago.
Pretty dead set on PT right now, but I'm not going to be dead set if he's not consistent anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
If he's living across the road on the neighbors on the private like we might think he is, he's an unkillable giant where you're going to waste your whole entire season trying to get it done. But if he's in the draw that we think he's in, then yeah, I'll be wasting a lot of time on him. But if PT is not there, I'd say Criss Cross is probably our number 2 buck size wise on the public.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, so with all the history and stuff, I'd probably roll out to him. It's crazy how big that piece is, and how the ground lays out. I mean, during October and stuff, there's like September or early October, there's all kinds of damn bucks out there.
Mm-hmm.
But then the rut starts and they're just not there. The only thing I can think of is there's so many does in that no hunting that they're all sucking up into it. And we're just losing them.
Yeah.
Because that render I ran on the north, there's 5 or 6 does there
right.
coming out of the no hunting every day that we were getting on that one cam. So hell, there could be 30 does in that no hunting. And we've seen the short time 10 running from that no hunting back into that shit in the middle of the rut. So they might just go up there. So if you're trying to hunt a deer that's in a spot that you can't hunt for the whole entire rut, you're going to have to go somewhere else. So
yeah, and I'm kind of with you about Criss Cross, like not going in there to hunt him unless you feel like you have a really good chance to kill him. Kind of just how we're transitioning to hunting going forward. These hunts that we get are, it's October 10th before you know it. And the next thing you know, it's the 25th, and then it's November 3rd, and then it's, Thanksgiving, and you're like, shit. Haven't done shit out here, just wasted a bunch of hunts. And, that's why we said eliminate the bullshit sets, and not going to go in after a deer unless we feel over 50% of a chance of seeing them. Like you said, I agree, going to need a cold front for Criss Cross early October to be in there and get on him. I believe that 100% because that's what he was doing this year. We'd see a 10 degree drop, and boom, He's on that scrape.
He's on the scrape. Yeah, that's the kicker for me. He's there. We got those scrapes established with some, intel on them, and then we get a cold front. You zip in there and do a hunt. That's what I would do. I'd feel confident about that. Even if we didn't have the assets there, I would still feel confident enough to go in there on a cold front, hunt one of those scrapes.
Mm-hmm. And
just because.
Here this past weekend, I did walk out there, and I got up on that ridge that I seen him coming out of, and there is a trail that he come down that they have here late season. And then when I seen that, I was like, okay, my thought went to where was he bedded that day. And I mean, that shit there is so thick, you can't really
more than
pin
likely
it
he
down.
Was bedded where he was when he was a 2-year-old when he come out with that doe.
That's what I was thinking too. And I did go back up in there and bumped a doe out of there, bumped 2 does out of there, and then back on the ridge. I circled back around and hit the fence and bomped, and then I kicked up about 8 deep on that ridge. So he was right there for sure. And we'll hopefully be able to maybe slip out some cams here a little earlier, see if we can get him in velvet and get the scrapes fired up again, and hopefully pin him down. If him and he's at least 5,
Yeah.
So
should have the best rack he's ever had.
Yeah, I'm interested to see what he does there. Like he's got hella tine length. What's he gonna do? Put on some mass maybe, or look the exact same. You never know.
Yeah. He's grew every year, but I mean, he could,
Mm-hmm.
like I said, I think he's 5 or 6, more than likely 5. So it should be one of his best racks he's ever had. And a lot of history with the deer. It'd be cool to get him down, and it'd be a cool ass mount. Just unique deer.
Be able to tie in all these hunts and all these pictures and videos we've got of him and the 2 encounters we've had of him. So would be one that we would cherish for sure.
Yeah. Well, that's the big buck breakdown of Criss Cross. Hopefully, like I said, you can look at one of your bucks and kind of see if any of these tactics that we're talking about will relate to you and helping you pin down one of your bucks. That's why we're doing this. It helps us talk this out, helps us put pieces together when you're thinking in the past of deer. And, we might be able to kill them on the top up there where we used to hunt. I don't know.
Yeah.
Definitely a possibility, but we didn't run any assets up there last year. He could have been on fire up there.
Yeah.
So it's hard to say. It's hard to hunt everywhere. Just got to go where,
I know that Cam kind of messed up on us, but we never had him in the back corner, the one that was on video. Never. Okay. I didn't think so, but I just double checked.
Did you pull that one?
Oh, no. I'm talking 2 years ago when we way back in the corner, way out there, by the gravel road.
Oh.
I don't
think so.
I don't think so because he was gone. Short time 10.
That was that year that everything was junk, though.
Yeah, split 3 bucks.
That year.
Short 10.
Yeah, that year was so. When Magnum came back, everything left.
Yeah.
It's like clockwork. He showed up, nothing else out there. He ran off everything. So hard to tell, but that looks like a damn good spot when you get back there. So, all right, guys. Well, we hope you enjoyed this. Appreciate you listening all the way along. Got a couple Legends episodes coming up for you guys, and but 3 of them, right? Hopefully 3 of them going to come in here. It's hot. We're still going to do a couple more big buck breakdowns, I believe, and then go from there. But here for Criss Cross, killable deer, maybe target them, maybe not. That's what it's coming down to. So he's on the list, but he's not very high.
Yeah.
But I'm sure that you guys will hear the name again. So we love you. Appreciate you guys listening. Always try to do the right thing. Try to leave a legacy, and Whitetail Legacy is out.